Hi guys, and welcome to another Bootstrap 4 with brackets text editor video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignertechtips.com. Well, we're about finished with this site. We've put it together and it looks pretty good on a desktop. Fairly happy with the way that's working. But because I haven't put a lot of thought into this, we've literally thrown it together and it looks fine on a desktop. I don't think it's going to resolve very well when we shrink it down to responsive size for smaller devices such as iPads and cell phones and what have you. But let's go ahead and fix that. This video right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this carousel slider at the top here responsive. At the moment, if we shrink it down, you'll see that if I move that in, the actual images are not shrinking down, which is actually the way I personally choose to keep this, because if we go down to a real small device like an iPhone or even smaller phone than that, you can still see pretty much all of the text here because the image itself is remaining at 100% height, but the width is just disappearing. But say you wanted to make your slider fully responsive so the images keep that aspect, and as you shrink down they just get smaller and smaller. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's make our slider responsive. It's going to throw up a few more issues when we do that. For instance, we'll have to start changing this text here as it shrinks down because it's just not going to fit on. So let's pull it back to its normal size. And the first thing we're going to want to do, we'll go to our index.html. For anybody that's not been following, we built this folder, we put our files in there, we created an index.html file, and inside the CSS folder we also created a custom CSS file. We're going to be working with these today, and we're going to be using a brackets text editor, and all you need to do is right click and say open with brackets. I've already got mine open, so I don't need to do that. So let's get the brackets up. Here's my index.html file, and oh, excellent, we're right here. Here's the carousel. Now the first thing we wanted to do was make those images responsive, and that's really easy to do. We'll just go to our image. Here's our first one. Well, here's each slide, 1, 2, and 3. And here's the image that's the background of the slide. I'm just going to give it the class of image, img, fluid, fluid. And that will make it responsive. That means it'll sort of be fluid, like a liquid. It'll fill the available space. I want to copy that, add it to the other images here. That one and that one. Now if we save that, Control S, we go back to the site. Let's refresh, and I'll just shrink it down to a smaller size, and you'll see now the actual images. You can still see the full images, but as you can see, what's inside, the caption inside, is sort of disappearing, but we'll fix that in a minute. And the more you shrink, you still see the whole image. And at a certain point, my recommendation would be to just have it not display at all. But as you can see now, that actual carousel is responsive. Alright, so what do we need to do? We made those responsive. We need to fix our problems that we've got with our text here. And so we need to add what they call media queries. And Bootstrap has certain breakpoints. You can put any breakpoint you want in and tell it when it reaches a certain size, this is what I want to happen. And these are called media queries. And if you just Google Bootstrap media queries, there's a great site here. And it tells you, you know, extra small is smaller than 576 pix. That's the width. Small is larger than or equal to 576. That means it's big. Anything bigger than 576. Larger and equal to. Medium, larger than equal to 768. Large, larger and equal to 992. Extra large, 1200 and up. So let's create some media queries. And to do that, we need to go to our CSS file, which I've got open in my brackets here also, our custom CSS file that we created. Let's get down to the bottom. You can also do this as you're building, if you wish. That's what I quite often do. And that way, each section you can make sure it's responsive before you move on to the next one. So we'll call it media queries. And to do this, you have to say at media only screen, and we'll give it a max width. You can do and, I think that should be and. You can do max and min width to describe what happens between a wider and a less wide screen. But I'm just going to do max width for the time being. That'll do for what we've got, what I've got in mind here. So I'm going to do max width. And let's start off with that first one, which was 1200, which is extra large. So I want to go just 1 pixel behind that, which will be 1199. So I mean, anything under an extra large, which is 1200, so 1199. And pixels on the end there. And once you've done that, you just got to open and close some curly brackets. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this over and I'm going to put several other breakpoints in there as well from that website that we just saw. I don't know if I need all of them, but I'm certainly going to want probably 4 of them. So I'm going to copy that, drop down, drop down, drop down, and I'm going to put in some values in here for the smaller size screen. Now the next one down from extra large was large, which is 992, so I'm going to put 991, so anything just below it, 1 pixel smaller than that. One below that was 768, so I'll put 767. And the one below that was 576. So I'm going to do 575. There is a smaller one, but I'm not going to mess with it right now. Now let's just expand our curly brackets right here. And in between here, we can put any of our CSS classes and tell it to do that when we get to our CSS classes. So let's have a look, see. And we're going to want to work on this. So if I right click and inspect, that's going to be our carousel caption. Which is right here, that's the H3. Now I'm just looking here, by default, Bootstrap's got some media queries in there. So I don't want to fight those because it's got the important class. What I'm going to do, I'll actually work on these individually. So we've got the H3, which is the white text there, and we've got the paragraph text, which is the blue text. So let's just shrink this stuff down. So let's reduce this screen and see what we need to do. Let's bring it just above. Just above. First media query of 1200, I brought it down to 14. Okay, so it's starting to get a little bit in the way there. So let's make this the font size smaller. There's the H3. It's 42 at the moment. Let's try something like 32. Probably do it. Okay, it's good. And we might want to change this padding at the bottom as well. And let's have a look at our P tags. Well, before I do that, let's just copy this, put it into our CSS file. Got to grab it pretty quick before it goes round, because it deselects it. Okay, so let's go in between our tags there. There we go. Let's move these across. And I'm missing a little closing curly bracket on the end there because I didn't copy it. Just make sure we put that one in. Keep it tidy. And if you notice, at the end of all your media queries, you're going to have double closing curlies because you've got the whole thing that's encapsulated with your CSS in between, and it's got its own there. Now let's have a look at our paragraph tags. And we want to take these down a bit as well. At the moment they're 24. Let's try 18. Yeah, I think that's all right. So again, we'll just copy that quickly before it disappears. Or you can just type it out, whatever you prefer. And let's just add this underneath. And again, I'll bring those two across just to keep it tidy. And I've lost my tag on the bottom. Make sure you got those double tags at the bottom there. All right. And I think we're going to need to... Actually, I've put these in the wrong one. Let's just grab those. Control X. We want them in this one, the 1199. Save that. Now let's just refresh. That should pretty much stay the same. There we go. And they shrunk down. But we want to take a bit of that padding away. So that's that carousel caption again. Let's just have a look, see. I think I actually selected the select that. Let's have a look, see. There's the carousel caption. And we got a padding at bottom of 12. So let's take that down a bit. I'm just going to roll down with my mouse. Yeah, what's that? 8. So let's take that. Control C. And put that in there as well. Let's just see what we've got going on now. Let's save that. I'm just going to move these two across. And Control S to save. Back to our site. Just take it back so it's normal size again. And refresh. Now if we roll down. There we go. It changed when we got to that. Just below 1200. There we go. It's in the middle and you can still read it fine. I think what I might do, because when we shrink down, it's fine at extra large. It's fine there. But when we get to... Keep going. say 1500. I think I want that padding to be reduced around 1500. So let's just add an extra media query. Very easy to do. I'll just copy this one. Add that in there. Put a closing curly bracket on the end of it. What I'm going to do simply is I'm going to cut this from here. So I want this to start at a larger size. Control X to cut. Delete that bit of space there. And paste it in there. There we go. Save that. Let's go back to our site. Quick refresh. Now hopefully, when we scroll down to below 1500, that padding will drop. Oh, I didn't put the right media query, so 1500. Save that, Control S. I copied it over and failed to change it. Fresh, let's try that again. There we go, it's done it that time. Take it back up. 1605, it'll start to go up a little bit, and then below 15. There we go, it's dropped down. That's fine, that's just what I wanted. So that's working. Let's see how small we can actually go before it messes up. Still okay. Starting to rise up a little bit there. Well, it's still okay. Let's keep going. I think, let's have a look. I think what I'm going to do, I don't want to make that any smaller because I don't think it'll be legible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have that disappear when it gets about here. So I think under 991 we'll have that disappear. So that's our paragraph text. And that was 991, wasn't it? So here we are. And here's our paragraph text. Just copy this. And rather than make it any smaller, you can make it smaller if you want. That's entirely up to you. But I think if I make it much smaller than that, it's just not going to be readable. So I'm going to say display none. And that should mean it should disappear below 991. So let's save that. Take that back up and do a refresh quickly. Shrink him down. And we're at 1051. There we go, it's disappeared. Okay, that works. You've still got your nice big title in there, and that can still keep going. I think it's still in the right place. Okay, it's rising up a little bit there. We're down to 675. So I guess we could make that font size a little smaller again and just take a little bit of padding away from the bottom. And that's our H3. So if we move down to carousel caption H3, let's just copy that. Paste him in there. Let's make it, let's try 24 pics and see what happens there. That'll make it smaller when it gets there. We may need to adjust that padding again. I'm not sure yet. Let's save that. Go back to our site. Let's take it back up a little bit. Refresh. Move that inspector out of the way. We don't really need that right now. Okay, let's start taking it down. Okay, the paragraph text disappeared. And that font's now changed in size. I think we do want to take that padding down a little bit. See what it is at the moment. I think just inspect that. So that's there. It's starting to creep up. So let's make that perhaps 5, maybe a little much. 7. 6, 5. I think 5 is too low. Okay. Let's call it 6. Okay, 6 should work. So let's. I've got some padding here somewhere. Padding bottom 8%. I need to change that to 6%. Just after that one. Change that value. And save it. Control S. Back to the site. To get rid of our inspector again. Quick refresh. Should stay the same actually. Okay, let's bring it back up, shrink it down, see what's going on now. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to change that padding at a higher level. Not sure yet. Shrink, shrink, shrink. Yeah, it's still all legible. As you can see, those images are still responsive. P tag's gone. Yeah, and I think I'm just going to have it disappear after a certain point because it's just not going to be legible if I take that down anymore, and really you can't tell what's, those pictures are just too small. So let's say that's the whole carousel itself. Which is carousel full. We'll check that. We have a look here. We've got his div and the ID is carousel full. So I want to put hashtag carousel full because it's an ID, not a class. So let's just make the whole thing disappear when we get to that small screen. You may want to do things differently. That's entirely up to you. You can keep on adding media queries ad infinitum until you're happy. But I think this will probably be the easiest way. So again, I'm going to say display none. Let's save that. Back to the site. And do a quick refresh. And let's shrink him down. And you'll notice when it gets to below that last media query, it should disappear completely. Should be coming up right about now. There we go. Okay. And it's back. And it's gone. It's back. And it's gone. But this section below it, let's give it a bit more margin on the top because I don't want it sitting right against our menu bar right there. Or our nav bar. I think that's going to work. Yep. Okay. So let's see what this section's called. I think it's called the About section. It'll be under our carousel here. Yep, here it is. Div ID About. So we'll just add a bit of margin on the top. Okay, so it's our About section. and it's an ID, so it's hashtag about. And open and close some curlies, and we're going to want to give it a margin on the top. Let's see how much. I'm guessing probably about 100 pixels. So go back to our site. There we go. That's great. Our carousel's just disappeared there. Back. I'll just want it to disappear some more. There we go. Just inspect this. About section. Let's see what sort of margin. I'm going to go ahead and give it 100 pixels, I think. Let's see what that does. Too much? No, I think that's about right. Maybe let's try 80 pixels. Again, this is entirely up to you, however you want to style your site. Yeah, I think that's better. 80 pixels looks a little more symmetrical. So let's get rid of that. Save that, Control S. And let's just pull it out. Now that is pretty much totally responsive. Like I say, you can do it however you want by adding different CSS styles to it. I really think below, much lower than that, it's just not going to be legible. And there it is. It's popped to our About section and taken it away. And let's look. That works fine. Yep. Okay. Well, there you go. That is how to make your full width slider responsive. I hope you found that useful. If you have, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in web development, take one of our courses below. We've got some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers. There's also some great free courses down there too. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.